What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Michael Knapp Fishing. Thank you all for tuning in. If you're new to the channel, welcome. If you will, go hit that subscribe button down there and turn on your notifications to let you know when we have a Tackle Warehouse gift card that could be in any one of my videos. Today we're gonna do something different. We're out on Cherokee. We're gonna talk about a special pattern that I like to run called the shadow pattern. So let's roll that intro and we'll get into it, guys. All right, guys, I've moved you down to my chest piece. Hopefully you all can hear me. The wind's picking up just a little bit, but nothing too bad. So like I said, we are going to talk about the shadow pattern, something that I rely on very, very heavily in the summertime, because it provides a little bit cooler of water and less harsh light on these fish. So obviously your number one pattern that you can run with the number one object you can run with your shadow patterns, of course, docks. You know, that's the biggest, the largest one that you can visually see, and it's the easiest to pick out and whatnot. So the docks, you know, you can fish all kinds of different techniques around it. You know, swim baits, jigs, top water. You can fish whatever you want around it. But that isn't your only shadow pattern option. You can also look at your banks, your tree lines, stuff like that. That entire, oh, that camera was down a little bit. That entire bank over there, yeah, it's extremely deep. That's probably 30 feet of water, but it's got shade along the entire thing. So we're gonna make our way over there here, and momentarily we're gonna fish that also. But looking over here at just this bank right here, you have very, very small windows of shade from the trees. It's currently, I'm filming this, and it's currently 2:27. So the sun is kind of high, not super high, but it's still going to create shadows. If it's, you know, 12 o'clock noon, it's the highest point. Yeah, you're gonna have a little bit of problem finding your shadows. But as you can see, that cypress tree right there is cast a shadow right there into the water. And you can actually target your fish eventually by figuring out what kind, where they are in the shadows and what they want around the shadows. So the one thing that I've gotten on today is, and I'll show you guys a few more clips of what I caught earlier today while I wasn't filming. Well, I was filming, I just wasn't working on this video. They like wood and rock in their shadows. Oh, there was one. They just bit my tail, I think. Wood and shadows today. And you know, with the shadow pattern, this isn't very deep. You know, I'd say actually I know for a fact all of my fish today have come out of less than 10 feet of water. I'm not gonna say less than 5, but definitely less than 10. And if you'll notice, every single one of my casts is going directly to the shadows. I'm not even wasting my time with anything else. Now, you can have shadows under the water created by rocks and everything, which are obviously a lot more difficult to find. And we're gonna talk about that here shortly. But we're gonna keep talking on the banks real quick. The banks are gonna create shadows from your trees, from the bank itself, from the rocks, from laydowns, docks. All of that stuff there is going to create shadows, and those shadows is really what you're going to target. And it's just like any other target. You want to, you know, cast past it if you can, and then bring your bait through it. Obviously, some of the shadows are just so massive that you can't cast past it. That's a tongue twister. And you have to just kind of drop it in the shadow and pray that you get it where you need to get it. So we're going to move over here, and this is actually going to be what we're talking about as far as underwater shadows and on ledges and whatnot. So we'll make our way over here and then we'll get started on that. All right, guys, so what you can't see here, we're currently in 34 and a half, 35 feet of water. There's a massive rock point that comes out over here. And what's happening is these rocks come out, hang down, and the sun comes down this way, and it creates a shadow. So that's why, you know, a lot of Gerald Swindle is one of the best at it. He did I don't know if he did a seminar, if it was I can't remember what it was, but anyway, I listened to him in either a seminar or on the water teaching or something, talk about ledge fishing and fishing the dark side of a ledge. And a lot of people didn't really think much about it, and they were like, what this dude doesn't even know what he's talking about. But after a lot of fishing and looking, yeah, it does create shadows on the ledges, on certain ledges in certain areas. And that's because of the sun pointing down into the water, and then the rocks are protecting certain spots. So it does create a shadow, and it creates a nice spot for these bass to be able to hang out and chill out. So in front of me there are some rocks, and they drop down, and there's a shadow below them. So if those fish were going to be hanging anywhere, they'd be hanging right there. So let's see what else we can try to actually catch something besides what I caught earlier. Once it gets high like this, the sun gets real high, the fish start to get a little more lethargic. But we're actually gonna throw this a little bit longer. So yet again, the trees here are creating shadows, and you know, you've got all these beautiful laydowns and whatnot. Those laydowns are going to create shadows as well. They're not going to be as big as shadows, but the shadows are still going to be there, and they're going to be right underneath the tree limb. So you got to kind of figure out the angle that the sun is hitting it, and then the angle that the shadow would be at, but it's still going to create a shadow. Now obviously everything up here, all along here, is a lot more prominent because it's much larger trees up top, so you're able to see those shadows a lot better. So you're going to want to target, you know, your target rich areas, if you will, the area that has the shade, the rock, the wood, something that all the bass want, you know, something that is going to entice anything and everything to be there. So we're actually going to go back to my top water, because we actually had quite a bit of luck on the top water earlier. Around 11, 12 o'clock, they were really chomping on that top water. So we're going to see if we can't get them to come out and play a little bit more. So as far as your bait choices go for running this shadow pattern, it really doesn't matter. Whatever you were catching them on, say this morning you were catching them on a spinnerbait in, you know, 6 feet of water around rock, do the exact same thing. Find that, go to, you know, find your shadows in 6 feet of water, shadows around rock, and throw your spinnerbait, and it's gonna be the exact same thing. All that it's doing is allowing these fish to have a little bit of cover. I had a follower there. It's gonna allow these fish to have a little bit of cover and take a break from that sun. You know, bass are sight feeders majority of the time, and they rely on their sight to be able to see. Well, when the sun is extremely high, it really hinders their ability to see it, and all they're really gonna be able to see is shadows and whatnot, and they would rather, you know, stay close to cover and stay close to something that's gonna give them a lot of shade. So that's why we've chosen a topwater bait again, because they were chewing on the topwater all this morning, and there's no reason they would stop, especially since I've already ran this pattern all day today and I just wasn't filming it. I was filming it, I just wasn't talking about the shadow pattern. I was trying to put together an actual fish catching video, which, surprise surprise, my GoPro's overheated again. So this entire ledge here is in about 30 feet of water. So those fish could, you know, they could really be anywhere up all along this. So I can't guarantee that we're going to catch anything off of these, because this isn't what we were targeting all day either. But we're still going to give it a whirl and see if there is just maybe 1 or 2 village idiots out here that want to come out and play. Now, when it comes to the shadow pattern, one thing that you are going to have to learn very, very quickly is side casting and casting underneath trees, because that's going to be your one hindrance, is trying to get underneath these trees and not get hung up. But these trees are going to provide extra cover for you that you just absolutely cannot do without during the summer. So when it gets hot like this, I'm telling you, this pattern, it will relieve everybody, not just the fish, but it'll also relieve you, because of what is dropping over here. I don't know what that is, but I don't want to get hit with it. Because of the way the shadow pattern works, most of the time you'll also be in shade as well, keeping cool, and that really pays off, and you don't have to worry about getting sunburnt and getting overheated too quickly. But the shadow pattern is really an easy pattern to run, easy to find. You typically want to run this more so in the morning. They've kind of shut down a little bit now. I don't know if maybe they turned the generators off and they've stopped feeding a little bit, but this is one of those patterns that it's fun. You know, it's fun to run. It's not always going to produce you the biggest fish, you know, in the middle of the summer, like it is right now. It's August. You know, if you want to go after big fish, you need to be out deep. You need to be out on the ledges. Yeah, you can catch a couple big fish here and there, but I'm not going to catch a 20-pound bag, you know, up here doing this. I'd say today my best 5 have gone about 12 to 13 pounds, which, you know, really isn't bad for Cherokee, especially since the smallmouth limit is on. You're only allowed 1 smallmouth per day, 18-inch smallmouth. So, you know, 12 to 13 pounds really isn't bad for Cherokee right now of all largemouth. So it's definitely a pattern that you can run. Oh, there was one blowing up on it. I don't know if you all were able to see that or not, but we're gonna throw it back in there and see if I can't get him to bite again. Chances are slim to none that he'll actually bite, but after I tormented him the one time with it. Yeah, dang it. Well, there was one bite. He slapped, I don't know if he slapped at it and missed, or slapped at it and I just didn't hook him well, but there was one little guy up there. Usually what I have found with the shadow pattern is you will catch a lot of the little aggressive ones first, but if you will keep hammering your pattern, if you'll just keep hammering the spot and keep on them, that the big ones will eventually come out to play. And I don't mean huge, but bigger will usually come out to play. All right, guys and gals, that's gonna be it today for the shadow pattern. We're gonna wrap it up. GoPros are giving me a fit again, so not gonna get to film it exactly the way I wanted to. But anyway, that was the shadow pattern, something that you all should really get out there and try, give it a whirl. It really comes in handy in the summertime, and it's an easy way to catch fish. You know, I'm not gonna say it's gonna go out there and it's gonna win you tournaments, but it's going to fill your limit. It's going to get you in there. You know, I caught the first hour I was here, I ran a shadow pattern with a top water and I caught 7 fish. All 7 were, no, I'm sorry, 6 of the 7 were keepers. So nonetheless, you know, you still got keepers, you got a bag out of it. But anyway, guys, if you like these videos, do me a huge favor, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, leave me a comment down in the comment section below. Turn on your notifications. We'll have a Tackle Warehouse gift card coming up sooner or later. Maybe it was in this video, I don't know when I post them. But anyway, guys, if y'all ever see me out on Cherokee, that's where we are today, is Cherokee Lake. If you're ever out on Douglas Lake, if you see me in my bright blue Falcon, come say hey, we'll talk a little bit of fishing. Take care, guys.